it's Barb Maple PhD, and I thought it might be fun to look at my favorite expansions in games. Sometimes there are games that you've played so much that you want just a little more content, or it's not necessarily that there's something missing, but when you get that expansion, it just adds something that you didn't know you were missing. And so let's look at my top 3 expansions for games. For number 3, I picked Barren Park: The Bad News Bears. So Barren Park is this polyomino placement game where you are placing out these tiles to build up a bear park. And as you cover different symbols, you get things back. So you might get some tiles of various sizes depending on, what symbol you cover, or you get another board to add to your tableau. What the expansion adds to this are bigger tiles with grizzly bears, and you can choose whether to add both of these or one at a time, monorail tiles. Not tiles, little towers that will move around your board, and when you get 2 monorail towers at the right distance from each other, you can add a monorail token to them. But they have certain placement rules, and the thing I especially like the monorails in this, in part because they make the game extra photogenic, but they also add this spatial element puzzle that I always screw up, and I'm always mad at myself when I do. But it's so much fun to start the game thinking that this is the time I'm going to maximize how far I can get my monorail going. So that's why that's my number 3, Barren Park's The Bad News Bears. So my number 2 expansion is Dark Alleys for Dungeon Pets. So if you've watched my channel at all, you know that Dungeon Pets is my favorite game of all time. This is a game where you are a family of imps who is running a little pet shop for these really crazy monster-y type creatures. And you are competing against everyone else in the game who are other families of imps with their own pet shops. The thing that Dark Alleys adds to this is another board with additional worker placement spots. It's kind of like a black market, but it gives you some additional ways to get pets, or you can get some additional artifacts which help you break the game rules in other ways. You can get an extra worker who helps, beef up your player placement order, because there's this bidding mechanism where you place these groups of imps behind your shield and then reveal it, and whoever has the most imps gets to place first, with ties broken by player order. And there's one extra worker who won't actually help you when they're shopping, but they do add one to your bids, whichever group you've added them to. There are also, there's this row of tiles that opens up throughout the game that give you special bonuses to, ways to get additional food or to clean up your pet shop a little bit more. And I like the things that this adds to the game. It doesn't necessarily need the expansion. I would happily play it without, but when I add that in, I just feel there's just a little more richness to the game, a few more options that just help out, with the experience of the game for me. So that's my number 2, Dark Alleys for Dungeon Pets. And my number 1 expansion, my favorite expansion for a game, is the Leaders expansion, Expedition Leaders expansion for Lost Ruins of Arnak. So Lost Ruins of Arnak is a deck building game where you're playing cards in order to, get your players out, your workers out on the board to get resources and to trade them in for things. You're also playing your resources to battle these guardians who are guarding the different sites that you're going to. You're playing resources to move up this research track, which then gives you other bonuses. And so you're chaining a lot of things together. The thing that the Expedition Leaders adds to this is variable player powers. So each player would then start the game with a different character that breaks the rules in a certain way, or it gives them a special deck of starting cards that gives them one additional thing that they can do that other players can't. I love this part of the game because it it gives you a little bit of direction. So if I have the one character who is better at getting artifacts, I'm going to go more in on that artifact strategy than I normally would. Or there's one who loves to have a lot of fear in their deck, and I haven't figured this one out, but I love playing it because it makes me less afraid to pull more fear into my deck. And so I just love what this adds to it. And I haven't even finished exploring all of the characters. I think I've played all of them at least once, but I want to play them more and more just to see what else they bring to the game. So that is why that is my favorite expansion for a board game right now, the Expedition Leaders expansion for Lost Ruins of Arnak. So that's it. Those are my top 3. What are your favorite expansions for games? I'd love to hear about that in the comments below. Or maybe one of your favorites is one that I've already listed. Let me know that too. I'd love to see where we synergize on these things. And yes, I just used a business word, but that's okay. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you know when my next videos come out. I'll be back again soon, but in the meantime, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter as MabelPhD, and I have a blog at mabelphd.com. We'll see you next time.